Hi there, Reaperman here, and we're getting back to some more Analog NT Mini. Also, I'm wearing a funny hat. So today we've got Beef Drop. Now, Beef Drop is one of the games that I always play whenever I play 7800. And unfortunately, this is my first time playing it since its creator, Ken Siders, passed away. Now, you'll notice that I don't have the full version. I actually don't own the full version. I just play the demo. That's good enough for me because I'm absolutely terrible at Burgertime and Beef Drop. I would like to someday buy the version of the game that if Atari Age makes another run with the Poke Chip, I will definitely go for that. Or if the ROM becomes available for my NT Mini. I don't think that's likely, but I'll definitely go for that as well. So this version does feature the Poke Chip. The version Atari Age currently sells does not, so the sound isn't going to be quite as nice as it is in this version of the game. And I really do like the 7800. It really brings me back to when I was picking it out of the 1987 Sears Wish book. My parents had me looking through this old 1987 Sears Wish book. In mind, it was probably 1991 when I was doing it. I was still asking for the Atari 7800 and that hot new game. What was it? Double Dragon. I really wanted to play Double Dragon, and now that I'm an adult, I have a 7800 and a big, fancy, expensive analog NT Mini. Double Dragon was awful. I would have hated it. It's maybe not as awful as a lot of people make it out to be, but it's not as good as it should have been on 7800. But anyway, let's get into some Beef Drop here. Let's just get going. Now, the biggest thing I see people doing on Beef Drop, well, not Beef Drop, but Burgertime in general, is they try and crush the enemies underneath the condiments as they fall, or the ingredients as they fall. And that does net some points, but the bigger points and more effective use of it is to kind of conga line them on top of it because it drops down farther. And you also get more points for doing so. The bottom row is not the ideal row to be doing that with because you don't get the extra drop. Ooh, a little too close there. So I've used up a couple of my peppers already, which is a problem. I should really be a lot more conservative with that here on the first level. The peppers stun enemies, but they are shared between lives. So it's kind of poor for me to be wasting them like I am. You can pick up more pepper from the center of the screen, or roughly the center, as it appears as in this stage an ice cream cone and other stages coffee, etc. Okay. So it must have been about 1991 when I was picking the Atari 7800 out of that old Wish book. And the reason for that is I do remember the Sega Genesis was out, and the Super Nintendo was either just out or just about to be out. And I remember the Sega had been out for long enough that Sonic was starting to take over as the pack-in game from Altered Beast. And I very much wanted a new console because all I had up to that point was my Atari 800. And all my friends were onto the Nintendo Entertainment System, which was just a phenomenal step up, it appeared to me to be. And I'm sure it was, but now that I've aged a bit, that Atari 800 was really good for me in a large number of more important ways. Oh, geez. Run. Okay, that worked out. Come on, Sausage Man! Sausage Man! These foods all have their own names and such, but I think Mr. Dill is the green one. I keep forgetting to pay too much attention during the demo. The demo is good to watch, though, because it always does show that you want to get the enemies up on top of the falling buns and ingredients rather than below. You do get some points below, but nowhere near as much as you do from above. Run! Right now I'm just trying to get a decent conga line of these guys going so I can drop... Oh geez, that's not ideal there. This game is much more about enemy management than a lot of games of this era are. You're very much aware that you can control the enemy's movement. Ah! So now that I'm absolutely out of pepper, the game will chirp incessantly until I finish dying, which is probably going to happen relatively soon as I don't have any. Yeah, so why that happened is I disliked the chirping so much that I went for the pepper over life. Alright, now it's time for level 3. So it's kind of a shame about Ken. From what I understand, it was rather unexpected for him to go. I don't think he was exceptionally old or infirm. But I don't have any kind of details on what happened to him. It's very unfortunate. He really liked the 7800, and he made some incredible games for it. As I lose. Alright, let's start another one of these. Run up to the top. Near enough. Okay, that went badly. So it appears that you get 500 points per enemy you get on top. And from below, 300. But when they're on top, it also drops lower, which is really pretty nice. Oh, that one I only got 100 for. Perhaps it varies by enemy type. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I failed to plan there. Definitely failed to plan. I know Ken has done other Atari 7800 games, and I'm going to check those out a little bit later, see if there's any demos for them. But this is the one that I always really, really loved. Well, continue to love. And I do hope that someday I'll get the opportunity to purchase a full version of this one with the Pokey chip. Or else maybe I'll go for the Atari 800 version, which of course wouldn't need one. Oop. Ah. So I was actually stuck with the Atari 800 as my only means of video gaming for quite a number of years. We got it when I was 3, and that would have been 1984. So I must have been 11 or so, 10 or 11. Yeah, it would have been 10. When I was still asking for the 7800. Oh. So My dad was the member of an Atari users group, and what he did for a number of years is, so back then computers all had users groups, and users groups were just places for people to swap illegal copies of software. So I had a pretty much never-ending supply of games for that thing, which was great until they dried up, and they dried up right about 1990 here in America. Let's start another game here. So I was watching all of my friends with their Nintendos playing very much more advanced games. And I was definitely in jelly school. So I really wanted the 7800 again because of the Double Dragon. And what I ended up getting eventually, I guess it was about 1993 or 1994, well, 1993 I'd say, was I ended up getting a Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, its library had been out by then. I think even Kirby, which is a very late release, was already out. So I had the full library to pick from, and at the time you could get certain Nintendo games for as little as $0.25. So I pretty much went to town on that. I think the least expensive game on the system at the time was Dragon Warrior 1, and Funko Land, I distinctly remember, was selling it for $0.25. And all of the older black box games weren't much more. I remember even Walmart was still getting games like kind of the equivalent of budget titles, games on their second or third printing. Like I got Super Contra for $19.99. I remember that. Very much enjoyed the video games back then. Look, run up to the top here, and yeah. Come on, hot dog man. Come on, hot dog man. Ooh, more pepper. Come on, hot dog man. Oh, this is a pretty challenging game. And I just stood there and took that. That's great. Okay, so now I've got to conga line these guys around. Try and get them near something that resembles a hamburger. Do some more conga lining around. Ooh. I'm not going to do too well with this. The one nice thing about my chef guy is he can turn around, and these other enemies do not seem to do that. So that is one advantage I have against them. And Mr. Dill makes his appearance. Oh jeez. And this is it, the last life here, and then I'm gonna probably cut this stream off. Ugh. Come on, oh jeez. Run, 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 run. Game over, and a high score of 22,000.